Hello, everybody. This is our presentation on Australian business. My name is Riker Harden, and I will be doing the country background part of this presentation. So, British exploration and colonization were the catalyst for the formation of Australia. That is why it will be my main focus when talking about the country background. Australia was initially intended to be a penal colony of the British. The initial voyage to Australia began as preparation in 1786. The British government hired Arthur Phillip. He was the captain of the ship HMS Sirius. His task was to set out and establish an agricultural work camp in Australia for British convicts. He led a fleet of 11 ships with 1,000 men. 700 of these men were convicts who were meant to populate the colony. It took 8 months, during which 30 people died, until they reached the shores of Australia. Finally, on January 26, 1788, they landed and founded the colony of New South Wales, which would grow into Australia. To this day, Australia celebrates this occasion on January 26. This day has been named Australia Day. The colony struggled initially, but after Phillip returned to England in 1792, it began prospering. Australia became a country in 1901, however Britain still controlled the foreign policy for Australia, and they finally gained full independence in late 1942. Didn't switch. Here we go. Currency. So after the colony established, there was an issue of common currency. Most of the currency had come from previous explorations that had occurred populating the colony. Because of this, most of the transactions that were made through the combination of bartering and trading. This continued for some time, with other currencies intermingling in the economy of Australia. In 1910, Australian Commonwealth silver coins were introduced. In 1911, bronze pennies and halfpennies were introduced. In 1913, the first series of Australian notes were issued, based on old British sterling system. Later in 1966, the paper-based notes were converted into polymer to prevent counterfeiting. In addition to the paper notes, they had coins including 5C, 10C, 20C, 50C, and $1 and $2. In 2012, they announced that they were going to upgrade their currency. However, this did take some time, and there's a picture of the currency on the right. Business evolution. After New South Wales was founded, it struggled to maintain itself, mostly using the resources provided by British excursions to the continent. Eventually, around 1850, their population had grown to a point where they could no longer rely heavily on the resources from the British. Because of this, they decided to form an agricultural industry. They began to manufacture agricultural machinery and different forms of transportation to assist them. However, this early development only occurred near Sydney and Melbourne. The vast majority of Western Australia and Tasmania did not experience something similar. In addition to the agricultural industry, they also developed a pastoral industry, which is livestock. After the Industrial Revolution took Britain by storm, Australia subsequently followed with new insights and technology provided by Britain. Because of this success, Australia became highly successful and business reached an all-time high in every industry. However, because of this sudden success, speculation occurred, causing investments and other things to collapse, causing the economy to collapse. Eventually, after this recession, they would begin growing again, with wool production reaching a new high. Australia introduced tariff protection, which encouraged factory production. Most industries were focused on the processing of agricultural goods. However, different industries began to pop up. The Australian steel industry started in 1905, when a blast furnace was built in New South Wales. Past this period, each industry slowly grew, matching common trends across the world. Eventually, the business in Australia grew into what it is today. Thank you. On to Connor.
My name is Connor Mitchell. I'm going to be covering the cultural orientation side of this project. It's going to be over negotiation and value systems in Australia. So just getting right into it with the negotiation side of things. In Australia, negotiation means something a little bit different than it does here in America. In Australia, negotiation means a friendly debate to reach a agreeable solution, a mutual agreeable solution. Um, in this, you can kind of compare it to America. In America, we tend to be very serious in our business negotiations, whereas in Australia, as you can see here, you can expect some teasing, just kind of lighthearted jokes, poking fun. Don't take it too serious. That's the best thing you can do for here. Um, expect it to be a very direct sort of negotiation, just trying to get straight down to the brass facts. Not much fluff. Uh, And then keeping it lighthearted kind of goes back into the teasing aspect. If you're able to match their energy, That's going to be the best thing you can do in this aspect. And then keeping their needs and wants in mind, this kind of plays into a value that we'll get into on the next slide. But in Australian negotiations, the goal is to, as I said before, reach a mutual agreeable solution. So that kind of means a compromise or finding a common middle ground. And then obviously this last one is kind of plays back into the last one we just spoke about. Now onto our values. Friendliness is a very big component as our aim with our dealings with Australians in the business world is going to be treating them like you would a friend. Kind of treat it like it's your buddy, but treat it like you would your friend, respect, the lightheartedness that we talked about, things of that nature. The cooperation aspect is you're going to have to find a compromise, as you can kind of see in this picture here. And then you're going to have to be willing to work towards that compromise. Humor, with this value, humor can be a very good tool for you, but it can also kind of be a downfall. I kind of like to, this is kind of dorky, but if you take your humor here, they say a joke here. If you want to fire back at them, match it or go a little bit below. Never try to escalate because then that can cause tensions. You might upset them. You might say something offensive that you didn't mean to say. It was best to just kind of keep it nice and simple. And then being straightforward and honest is a very key aspect. I am saying that a lot, but these are very important. Australians in the business world are very good at sniffing out ill intentions. So as we are trying to find a mutual agreeable solution, if they can kind of sniff out that you are trying to get a leg up on them, trying to use them, they're going to figure that out very quickly, and they're not going to want to work with you anymore. So being honest and straightforward with your intentions is going to be the best thing you can do from the get-go, and then working backwards to find your common ground will be the best thing for you. All right.
Business punctuality is a very cherished custom in Australia. Veering away from this tone can be seen as a disrespectful maneuver and lead an opposing party feeling as if the individual is wasting their time. Arriving on time, and better yet, early to all appointments or meetings is a major priority in business culture. Preparing for an appointment prior to the meeting shows the value an individual has in the appointment and also is a sign of common courtesy. Negotiations here are typically fast-paced because getting straight to the point and presenting material at face value is very important to them. One of the main forms of Australian business entertainment is dining and coffee. Having a meal with business is said to build rapport and strengthen relationships. As a known coffee-loving country, Australians would typically use business meetings as an excuse to visit a local coffee cafe or bring coffee to these meetings. Tall poppy syndrome is a popular saying in Australia. It reflects on criticizing successful individuals because of their tendency to brag on their success. This attitude is strongly frowned upon in Australia because of their desires to treat everyone with respect as equals. Formal greetings are seen to be detached. Even business greetings are pushed to be of an informal tone to remain more relaxed. Utilization of first names versus the use of formal titles is more accepted in this community. Gestures are not unwelcome either. Firm but friendly handshaking, direct eye contact, and humble smiling are all familiar. Women may go as far as hugging or a quick peck on the cheek, while men will occasionally pat each other on the back. Typical business protocol in the Australian culture does not usually include corporate gift giving. Smart casual is a target for business dress attire. This possibly means a collared shirt and nice trousers or a business suit for men. For women, on the other hand, this could mean dresses or a blouse accompanied with clean slacks or a simple skirt. To maintain a professional demeanor, black and/or neutral clothing colors are recommended. In more tropical areas, Bermuda shorts are also considered to be smart professional business attire. This article is an in-depth analysis of Australian business. It discussed the history of Australia, Australian currency, and Australian business, giving you a basic timeline of events that occurred affecting the previously stated topics. We learned that it is imperative to take a laid-back and a friendly approach to your business negotiations. Keeping things friendly and acknowledging the other party's needs will serve you well in your negotiation as it fits their culture. Business practices and protocols tend to follow this laid-back and friendly tone as well. Even though punctuality, appointments, negotiating, and business entertainment are taken very seriously and should be respectfully navigated, when greeting others, utilizing titles, gesturing, gift-giving, and how to dress all follows along the casual side of business professional.